For weeks, President Trump's on and off again tariffs have hit stocks, investments, and retirement accounts hard. And while most global tariffs are on hold for the time being, that is not the case with China. Despite the softening public comments coming from the White House this week, retaliatory tariffs between Washington and Beijing are still in place. And now there are increasing signs that American consumers could start paying more and seeing less on shelves in just days. NewsNation's Joe Khalil live in Washington. So, Joe, how this all plays out, both in the short term and the long term, really appears to be dependent on how much pain Americans will tolerate.
Well, yeah, so there are two sides of any trade war, but the sides in terms of how they react to it, in this case, the United States and China, are very different. And we're taking a look today at sort of the limits that both leaders, President Trump and President Xi, have, because they're incredibly different when you look at the circumstances that both have to deal with. Let's take, for example, earlier this week, President Trump and Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent both announced that the tariffs could possibly be softened on China, that there was at least a roadmap to do that for some kind of negotiation. Why did that announcement come this week? There are many factors, but per our White House team reporting on this, too, may very well be that earlier in the week, there were several high-profile CEOs, several business people that were portraying to President Trump a pretty dire picture of what a prolonged trade war with China might look like in terms of potential job loss, higher prices and costs of things, empty store shelves, that kind of thing. You've also got several polls, several opinion polls now that show that President Trump is losing a little bit of support. Take a look here when it comes to tariff impacts. 77% of people think that there's going to be some kind of increased prices as a result of this. And you've seen President Trump's approval on the economy specifically go down a little bit. This is an area where he has been historically very strong, even among voters that in some cases didn't vote for President Trump. Many see him as being able to handle the economy. That number has dipped. So in some ways, President Trump is responding here to voters and their voices when it comes to now softening tariffs potentially on China. On the other side of this, President Xi has virtually none of those limits, none of those checks that we just described that are on President Trump. He doesn't worry about voters or having to be accountable to the population. President Xi, as we well know, is an authoritarian leader in every sense of the word. His ruling and governing party has been in power, the CCP, the Communist Party of China, for decades now. He has gotten rid of term limits. He has also basically enhanced the security state and the surveillance state so that if there were people within the country that wanted to protest, if there were job loss, if there were factories closing, for example, which things are entirely possible in a trade war with the United States, those things don't really hold him to account in the way that President Trump or any American president would have to deal with.
Yeah, a lot of dynamics at play here. Joe Khalil, thank you as always for the breakdown.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.